Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we are going to move through a week with a lot of transiting aspects, a lot of energy, and we're already in the midst of some big dynamic changes based on the solar activities from December 14th. So we will be talking about what awaits us over this next week as we move into the Capricorn Solstice energies. Mercury retrograde continues. Chiron stations direct on the same day that we have a Cancer full moon. So we will be going through each of those energies in today's show, but I do want to start by acknowledging the powerful X-flare we had on December 14th, where we experienced a 2.8 solar flare that hasn't occurred since September 2017. And this is significant because the energies have been playing out over this past week, and it's occurred with the sun in Sagittarius, a fire sign, really igniting our own desires for change and growth. So we can make some beautiful connections between the sun in our solar system being active, more alive, and how that works with our own personal energy fields in terms of what we are meant to purge and activate in ourselves. So with the sun being highly active, what has come alive for you over the past week that you've been sitting with and contemplating, that you've been seeing in a new light and perhaps learning from? How have your own possibilities of how you can live your life come to your attention? And this can be even more alive for you with this Mercury retrograde in Capricorn that shows us we're already in a deep review process anyways. We're already looking back on some things and acknowledging how far we've come, what we have learned about our energy, how we have been able to continue to gain strength and mastery through the trials and tribulations of life, how we've been on some very rocky roads at times. There has been a lot going on in our world as well as in our own individual energy fields. And this is actually a time to really understand how far you have come and what is coming alive for you next that could be quite unexpected. It could catch you off guard. Something that maybe you thought was a back burner dream or something you never even thought would be possible in your life or at this time. There's an awakening here. So when we have strong solar flares, the sun is awakening. The sun is bursting with powerful energies, and we are too, because something comes to our attention that we're meant to understand and see in a new light. As I'm recording this episode on December 20th, we do have more M-class solar flares that are coming alive. And those M-class solar flares are not as powerful or strong as the X-class flares. They are considered more medium size, but they can result in brief blackouts, things that affect the Earth's polar regions. It could be too that it's going to work with our own energy systems in some disruptive manner. So the sun is very active right now. We are in solar cycle 25, and this is the 25th solar cycle that has been counted, and it is a peak energy as we move into 2024. So the solar cycles signifies the sun's sunspot activity. This first started to be tracked in 1755. And here we are on the 25th cycle of documenting the sun's activity. And it's expected to peak and be highly active in 2024. So just keep in mind that what you're feeling, what you're sensing is not just you. It's these solar energies working drastically with our individual and collective energy fields, and it's activating even more in us that can be unsettling and chaotic, as well as disruptive and powerful. So we are understanding more of what it means to be feeling these energies and what we need to do to take care of ourselves. And so do keep in mind that if you notice your own patterns with these energies, make sure and stay aware of, okay, this is what works for me when these strong solar energies are alive, when I'm feeling them, if they are waking you up at night, if they are not allowing you to sleep, if you're finding yourself ungrounded or foggy. The other effect is that these energies can be very electrifying. Like all of a sudden you have a burst of energy. You're ready to go. And you could feel those activations at a cellular level. So keep in mind that this is going to continue, and it's another way that we're learning to work with our energies even more powerfully. Now, the sun is going to move through the final degrees of Sagittarius here, and then we'll enter Capricorn, which we call the solstice, on December 21st at 10:27 p.m., and that is Eastern Time. The solstice is when we experience an extreme dynamic between dark and light, because here in the northern hemisphere, it is the longest stretch of darkness. And then in the southern hemisphere, it is your longest stretch of light. And then as the sun moves across that threshold, we then have increasing rays of light in the northern hemisphere and the opposite in the southern hemisphere. And what's interesting about the Capricorn solstice is that it is a peak of energy, especially astrologically. There is something significant about the sun moving from Sagittarius into Capricorn that is where we can take a pause and really look at how far you've come, what you have learned, what you have come to understand about your journey, your energy, where you're going next, what resonates with you now, what has a practical purpose that also allows you to respect that we live in the time-space continuum, meaning we only have so many hours in a day, so many days in the year, and so many years in our lives. So it brings our attention to the matter of time. The time we spend investing in what we want and what we need, as well as in what we have to take care of and what we need to make sure gets done. This can be a reflective energy, and it feels like that is definitely a focus as the sun enters Capricorn and has an immediate conjunction to Mercury retrograde in Capricorn as well. That happens on December 22nd. And what we are doing with this particular Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is giving ourselves time to slow down, to rest, to not feel rushed, to not allow everything in our modern lives to take over our energy, and to remember that you are the master of your reality. Even though it might feel like that's not true at all, this is what Capricorn wants to remind us of, that you are the master of your life. So allow this Mercury retrograde to be something that settles in your bones, something that allows you to really tap into what is true for me right now, what is essential. Yes, there's things I have to do, I have to take care of, but where am I going next? And that's part of this peak energy here of the Capricorn solstice, where you can assess, okay, this is how far I've come. This is what I've learned. This is what I put energy into over the past year, over the past 2 years. What has paid off? What has been satisfying? And I want to keep doing it. I want to take it forward. It's still true for me and is in alignment with where I'm going next. This is also a time when you're going to have assessments of what you're done with, what is over, that didn't work, that wasn't right for you, letting things go and being very honest with yourself, even if it's disappointing, even if you thought it would turn into something else or lead in this direction. You could feel a little bit bummed out that something didn't bring you results you wanted, or it wasn't the direction to go. But that's what this Mercury retrograde is helping you reassess by slowing down, taking those pauses, taking those breaks to look at what is really worth it. And to also note that both the Sun and Mercury, once they're in Capricorn, they make a beautiful sextile to Saturn in Pisces at 2 degrees. And this is also important because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. So this occurs on December 22nd and December 24th. Mercury retrograde in Capricorn sextiles Saturn in Pisces on December 22nd, and then the Sun will be there shortly after. And so there is something that you're learning from deeply. And with the Saturn energy, especially in Pisces, it's a closing out that you can even honor in yourself. You can understand, I took it as far as it could go. I did my best. And I feel too like there's something that you know that you really are coming to terms with that's closing out something in your soul growth. Something karmic is no longer energetically connected to you. You are ending something, and I feel this in a powerful way. I feel this also as something that perhaps only you can recognize. Only you are really aware of it, and that's because, of course, parts of our journeys are very much solitary, where it's only you who would know certain themes, and perhaps you talk about it or you share, but there's something internal about this energy that you're meant to recognize in yourself, and Saturn is affirming it. That sextile from Saturn in Pisces is actually giving you that gold star on your shirt recognition. There's something here that you're meant to see as a powerful accomplishment, even if you didn't think it would go that way, or even if it wasn't something you thought would drag on. That's what I'm getting around this. Like something that just kept dragging on. You could feel a turning of the energy right now. You could feel like, wow, it really isn't even in my awareness. It's not in my aura. It's not in my mind as much. I've really done some big work about this particular lesson, this particular matter. And this is a week to just acknowledge that in yourself. What has closed out, what you have moved through that probably was very difficult because of the karmic layers involved. And I feel like it could have been layer upon layer. And it could even be like you thought it was just maybe a spiritual lesson, and then it was an emotional lesson, and then it was something that brought in your ancestors, and then it turned out it was related to all this. It's kind of like it could have been so much bigger than you first initially saw it. But that is why this is a beautiful achievement, especially at a soul level. So keep in mind that the Sun entering Capricorn wants you to reclaim that mastery. Now, Capricorn is an earth sign. It's cardinal earth, and it connects us to what we want to begin based on what we've learned and experienced in the real world so far. Capricorn is about maturity, and because it's an earth sign, it's actually feminine energy that is connected to crone wisdom, that's connected to wise crone energy. And it's the mature queen. It's the queen who has learned through some very hard experiences where her responsibilities truly lie. She has a new perspective on what she can offer, where she can invest her energy. She knows what's worth her time, and she's aware of how much time she has left on the planet in this lifetime, as well as what she has excelled at through her younger years. And Capricorn is about how we handle the reality of life, but we do so through observing, through maturity, through the eyes of living and having experiences that teach us more about how the world works, how the real world works. And there are parts of our experiences that we only really understand once we've been in it, once you've learned through it. Once it's been something that you've had to navigate in your own way. And that's because Capricorn follows Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is a very different energy. Sagittarius being how we expand and grow and go on adventures, how we do things with a burning desire just to see what happens. There can be this life of the party energy with Sagittarius. There can be a sense of let's just show up and see what happens. I'm open to the world. I'm open to life. As Sagittarius evolves and matures, then we really sink into more of our true belief systems, what we are really allowing to govern us and our energy. And we take that and we apply it in Capricorn, where those big dreams and those callings of your soul now have to be applied into the real world. And how does that change what you want to do? How does that affect your choices and what the real world then delivers back to you as what's possible, including the time, energy, and attention that's required to get to where you really want to go? Capricorn focuses in on a goal. It assesses, this is where I want to go. This was what matters to me. And when we take these various archetypes and we join them together, we see that we become more mature in our energy. We also become more self-respecting. We are able to walk with more dignity and integrity. And these are energies that Capricorn really values. Capricorn also respects what you're able to do on your own without needing a lot of outside validation, without relying upon others to get to where they want to go. And Capricorn also wants to be in charge, wants to be the decision maker of your own life and of your own next steps. This is the energy of being your own commander, standing in the responsibility of what it means to honor your soul's journey in this lifetime, where there's things you're going to have to do on your own. You've probably had to do them on your own. You've had to be responsible. You've had to assess, okay, what am I going to honor and do next here? And where do I have to make some tough choices, some tough decisions? And this is where the Capricorn boundaries show up, boundaries and limitations that remind you you can't do it all at once, or don't assume you can take on that much and get it all done. Capricorn wants us to conserve and cut back. Capricorn wants us to reel it in. And I feel that as the sun enters Capricorn, it's going to shine a light on a big part of our journey in soul growth since 2008. And that is when Pluto first entered Capricorn and began bringing up these themes around our life purpose, our work, where we're dedicated, where we're in alignment with our soul mission or not, where we need to change jobs, where we need to go in a different direction, even where industries are no longer useful, where the skill set you brought to the table is no longer valued. So you had to go off in a different direction or try something new. So of course, there's a lot that can be said about Pluto and Capricorn's journey, but it's highlighted this year because when we are completing Capricorn season on January 20th, the sun is going to be conjunct Capricorn and they're both going to move into Aquarius. Now, you've probably heard me talk about this already, as I've already done a podcast episode and video on this theme. But what we are looking at here as we move into Capricorn season is to beautifully reflect on how much stronger you've become through your own deep transformation in these Capricorn energies, and to recognize yourself and what you have trusted that probably was very scary and uncertain at times. And I'm talking about big life things, okay? So this is a week when you might look back on your life path and be like, wow, I did it. I made it through a lot. I maybe was scared, but I always figured out the next step. And that is a big theme this week. You will always figure out the next best step. Even with this Mercury retrograde, there is something here that you are reassessing, giving yourself time to think it through and determine, is this really what I want? Because you might be making some new choices here just to assure that you're on a new trajectory. So then Mercury re-enters Sagittarius and will be conjunct the galactic center on December 24th at 27 degrees. And this is where we are also receiving more downloads, inspirations, and possibilities that we couldn't previously hold. So as Mercury moves from Capricorn into Sagittarius, there are openings. There are things that now you've said no to, and perhaps you're ready to have room for that next yes, the next big idea, the next important download. So December 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th are all big Mercury days. But it's Mercury with a big picture view of life. Now, we also have this Mars in Sagittarius being activated this week, December 23rd and 24th, as that Mars trines the North Node in Aries at 21 degrees. And so this is where you could feel energized to make some strides around this new dream, this new vision of yourself. I feel it as an energy that really wants to activate parts of yourself that maybe have felt insecure, that have felt vulnerable, parts of yourself that maybe you didn't know if you could believe in it. This is Mars saying, yes, you can. Heck yeah, let's go. Let's get stronger together. Let's move this energy forward. Do what you need to do. Go for what you want. And I'm going to support you. Mars in Sagittarius trining the North Node in Aries opens up doors. It's action, it's movement, and it could be something here that feels almost ridiculous at times because it could feel impulsive. It could be something you've never done, you never dreamed of doing, and yet there's energy for it and you want to go for it. So you could feel that part of yourself comes alive. There's something that you're trusting and the energy is rising to move it forward. So again, that's December 23rd and 24th. On Christmas Day, December 25th, Venus in Scorpio trines Neptune in Pisces at 25 degrees. That is a very beautiful energy that is receptive, that's kind. You could feel it as lovely connections that you're moving through around the holidays. There could be something that you're also intuitively trusting around how people are feeling. This could help you navigate any kinds of group dynamics or anything where you're sharing energy. There's a peacefulness here that also might just want to be left alone. These are internal energies. Both Venus and Scorpio and Neptune and Pisces like they're quiet, like to go off into a private room or a hidden corner and just drift away, just receive. So there could be a need here for quiet time, downtime, just not wanting to be as social, and to trust that if it's something that you're feeling. Now, on the next day, on December 26th, we have the Cancer full moon at 5 degrees, and we have Chiron stationing direct at 15 degrees of Aries. We also have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius squaring Neptune in Pisces at 25 degrees. So December 26th has a lot of energy. I have a separate video for you on YouTube going through the Cancer full moon chart, discussing more of the dynamics involved and how this is reflective emotional energy, that there's something coming up here that can directly relate to your family traditions, the traditions of the holidays, certainly, but something much deeper. Something that could relate to either your mother or your father's lineage, something that shows you what matters to your heart and what you want to beautifully let go of. And that's because Cancer can have these energetic frequency ties to the past, to when you were younger, to previous years, favorite family memories. It's a sentimental energy, and it draws us into previous timelines. And there could be something coming up for you from a previous timeline that you realize this year. And now, Cancer full moon means that the moon is the biggest and the brightest, and the moon is at home in Cancer, and it's able to trust the ebbs and flows of energies. It's able to pull back as needed, as well as to open up and share when it feels that it's supported in doing so. And so you could feel either of these extremes around December 26th during this Cancer full moon. Again, it's at 5 degrees. You could feel something big opening up for you. You could feel like you're being pulled into a previous experience or previous version of yourself that activates an emotional imprint that I feel you could recognize and see in a new light. Because for all the ways the Cancer full moon is powerful and strong, it's working favorably with Saturn in Pisces. There's a trine there. It's working favorably with Jupiter retrograde in Taurus. There's a sextile. And there's something supportive here in these feminine energies around what you've been through, what you've learned, how much you've grown and matured, especially emotionally. There could also be something that you see through a new lens and you're like, wow, that really impacted me when I was younger, or I've really been holding a lot of emotional energy around something and it no longer represents my truth. It no longer connects to my heart. I'm also seeing how much I've grown and even what I'm ready to let go of because it isn't needed going forward. And again, I discussed this more on the Cancer full moon video on YouTube, but I'm feeling like there's something here that could pull you into your own emotional world, and you're going to see it in a new light and perhaps even acknowledge previous versions of yourself that were moving through something that impacted you from childhood, from your family, from your parents. And that is an energy that's highlighted in the Cancer Capricorn axis, where Cancer is our first experience of the tribe, which is family, the nuclear biological family, and how we feel supported and connected, how we're able to trust our feelings, have a safe place to go. And then that allows us to branch out and grow into the Capricorn expressions of feeling strong about ourselves in the world, knowing that we've been supported, knowing that we have a safe place to go at the end of the day. Now, as I talk about all this, you could feel like, yeah, Molly, that's not my experience at all. I didn't have that growing up. That isn't where I come from. I didn't have emotional support. I didn't have that family who got me, who understood me. I didn't have those connections or that safety net. And so then the Capricorn energy is where we learn to do things on our own, that we grow a strong backbone. We understand how the world works, and that oftentimes with many Capricorn energies in a chart, you feel like you didn't have your childhood. You weren't the kid. You weren't the playful kid on the playground. And in fact, you had to mature faster. You had to take on responsibilities. Maybe you felt like I had to carry a lot for my family because one parent was absent, or this parent didn't do it, or I was the one who needed to be there for my siblings, whatever the case may be. This is where we look at where we have come from, Cancer, and what we're doing with what we've got, Capricorn. Because Capricorn is a very hardy, strong energy that understands the world isn't meant to validate you. The world isn't designed to continually be your safe place. The world is what it is, right? And it has its hard edges and its spiky points and its cruel days. And the world is a mixture of energies that we have to contend with and navigate. It's not the safe place to land. So with the Cancer full moon, you could realize where you've been out of balance. This could be something like, wow, I've been working too damn much. I've spent this year working and I didn't have enough time to pour into myself, into the Cancer energies. And maybe the Cancer full moon is going to show you, yes, you did a lot of work, or yes, this is what you accomplished, this is what you did. But at the end of the day, what's going on in your private life? What's happening in your heart? Are you giving to yourself? Do you have others to travel with who understand you, who are there for you during those hard or more challenging periods of time in the real world? And so this Cancer full moon illuminates our personal lives, our family world, what is out of balance. If you have more energy invested in one side of your life than another, there could be a theme of loneliness, of realizing I don't have those people who know me well, or I want more people in my life that I can share with, that I can trust, that I can open up to. The Cancer full moon can illuminate that as well. But because that moon is being beautifully supported by both Jupiter and Saturn, there's something here that can help calm any kind of emotional processing, can give you perspective, can allow you to accept what is, and can also give you the ability to make changes as needed. And that could be part of what you're closing out here as 2023 comes to an end. The Cancer full moon, the last full moon of our calendar year, could show you what you want to put energy into in 2024 because of whatever is out of balance or what you're realizing you need. And Cancer connects you to what you need in a very private way. It can be very fulfilling. It's what gives you emotional happiness. It's something that lights you up. So keep that in mind here during the Cancer full moon. Now, we also have Chiron stationing direct at 15 degrees of Aries. I have a separate podcast episode for you on that topic. But with this Chiron stationing direct, halfway through the degrees of Aries there at 15 degrees, this is also realizing that you're closing out something you had to deeply heal and work through. You had to repair. You had to invest in it. There could be some kind of relief. There could be something that you're seeing in a new light, and that you're also making that vow to yourself, I'm done with this. This doesn't feel good. This isn't something that supports who I am, and I'm closing it out because I'm worth it. I'm worth more. I'm owning it for myself, and I know more of who I am and who I'm not, because that Chiron in Aries frequency is shifting our self-identities, allowing us to release and exfoliate false senses of self. And so you could have a reconnection here with more of your truth, more of how you understand your self-concept, more of what does define you and what does not. So this can be beautifully supportive of what you're changing now, because Chiron requires change. The healing process shifts us permanently where we don't go back to previous definitions of self. And so there could be things ending around this time in December that you're saying, yeah, that's just not who I am anymore. And I'm at peace with that. I'm at peace with what was, and I'm also at peace with who I am now. So when we look at the Cancer full moon, along with this Chiron stationing direct, these are personal energies. These are very internal, and it comes into really understanding more of who you are, what you need. And I feel too that they're both working with emotional frequencies. Now, we know that water signs are connected to feelings and emotions, but so are fire signs. Fire signs being quite inspired and impulsive and ready to go. There is a component here of regulating your own emotional frequency. And I feel it too as that Chiron in Aries is the masculine and that Cancer full moon is the feminine. And you could feel a shift here in your own internal emotional world, what you need and how you know yourself, that brings you into deeper clarity. And you could feel it this time of year as well. Like there's just a lot going on within you and you don't know how to express or if you even want to talk about it, because part of this energy is what we're feeling and sensing that is basically for your own personal awareness, especially the changes that you're feeling in your energy and in your frequency. Now, as I mentioned, we also are going to have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius squaring Neptune in Pisces. So that's the part of us that doesn't want to talk about it, where just let me be in this, let me feel into this, let me just trust this for myself and not feel like I have to verbalize it or even compartmentalize it, because Sagittarius and Pisces energies do not want to be put in a box. They want to be free. So there's something about giving ourselves the freedom right now to just feel what we feel and allow that to be enough. December 27th brings us that Mercury retrograde in Sag conjunct Mars. That occurs at 24 degrees, and both are still squaring Neptune and Pisces. And this again is freedom. I just want to go do what I want to do, and I don't want to have to check in with anyone. I just want to be able to be free, to let loose, to be independent. Now, do be careful here with anything you say, because Mercury retrograde conjunct Mars can add more energy into what you want to express. It can even be quite volatile. And then you regret it. Then you understand, whoops, I overspoke. I said too much. I let it all out, and you can't put it back in. So keep that in mind around December 27th. And on the same day, we have the Sun in Capricorn trining Jupiter retrograde in Taurus at 5 degrees. Jupiter retrograde is moving slowly as it will station direct the last day of the year. And so the Sun in Capricorn brings in the purpose. Get to work, move it forward. What are you doing at this time? Now, that Jupiter retrograde in Taurus can be lazy bones, can be very much indulgent and just enjoying the best of life without much motion, without much movement. But the Sun in Capricorn walks in the door and says, okay, you got to get some things done here. So what are you going to move forward? What's on your plate? Let's be productive together. And there could be things that come through that you're like, yes, I want to do that. That's what I've been waiting for. That's how I want to use my time, or that's the next best thing, and I want it to grow, which is something that Jupiter supports. So December 27th, there's big energy on that day, and just stay open to what comes through that is meant to be in the physical form, because the Sun in Capricorn trining Jupiter retrograde in Taurus is the physical world, something you can see and taste and touch, something that perhaps you are identifying and ready to move towards. It could be a new ambition. It could be a great idea for what you want to do in the new year. So I feel like this could be a day, again, December 27th, where there's a lot bubbling up. There's a lot going on, and you want to have a plan. The Sun in Capricorn wants a plan. How are you going to get there? How are you going to get this done? And this could be a day where you've got it. You've got the plan. And it's almost like doing nothing allows you to formulate the plan. And there could be an effortlessness here. It could even bring up, wow, that was too easy. That was so easy. But sometimes that's exactly what we need, and that's exactly what the universe delivers. So the Sun in Capricorn trining Jupiter retrograde in Taurus, that is a good day to see what shows up and where you feel a yes, that's it, I want that. And you might have to hang out for a bit in order to see the details show up and more things coming together. That's because, again, Jupiter's going to station direct on January 31st, and then the next day, Mercury stations direct as well. So even if you've got the plan or you know where you're going and what you want next, it might not be until early January that you start to see how it comes together and can really be something worth going for. So to summarize, there's a lot going on this week. It is very active. I know that can be overwhelming and a lot, but the Capricorn energies want you to take your time, assess your energy, check in first on what you're doing. Be ready to say no, thank you. Be ready to pass on invitations that aren't correct for you, even if previously you felt obligated or that you should. There could be something here with this Mercury retrograde and Capricorn energy where you're understanding, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm okay just staying home. I don't want to drive to 28 places over the holidays or whatever it might be for you. This is where you could feel yourself changing your mind and really enjoying that, really feeling like that is in alignment with your energy and what you need at this time. So Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Boxing Day, Merry everything to whatever you might celebrate or not. I hope that you have a beautiful holiday season. I will not have a Monday episode of the podcast because it's Christmas and I'll be celebrating with my family and loved ones, but I will have another podcast episode for you on Wednesday, December 27th. If you have time this holiday season to dive into your astrology chart, be sure and check out my 2024 Soul Growth program, where we go into all the major astrology of the year ahead and how it's going to work with you. You bring your chart to this program, and I take you through the significant transits of the year ahead. We're going to look at Jupiter in Gemini. We're going to talk about Pluto re-entering Aquarius. I show you how to pinpoint the upcoming galactic air grand trine. And we also go through, of course, the personal planets. So you look at your chart and then you can figure out where you're going to have Mercury retrograde experiences next year. Plus the upcoming Mars retrograde in Leo and Cancer, and beautiful Venus energy in June. So there's a lot here in this program. It's over 400 minutes long, but it's in digestible bites and themes, and it's meant to come back. So you read or you watch one section, you come back next year or pick it up when you have time in your busy life. And it's broken up into different sections as well. So this is a wonderful tool for not only looking at what the new year is going to bring your way, but also to deepen your astrological knowledge, which is about knowing yourself and knowing your journey in this lifetime. So I'm excited to make this program for you every year. This is the 5th year I've offered this. I know how many of you love it. And I hope that because it's affordable, it allows many of you as well to go into more of these specifics of astrology for yourself and to continue to follow your passion with astrology. So I hope to see you in the course. It is still on sale for only $33 when you use coupon code 2024. And I hope it's an enjoyable way to move through any of your downtime over the holidays. You can also find all of my other astrology programs at mollymccord.online if there are more areas of astrology you want to dive into, such as your solar return or your progressed chart, or anything else that perhaps interests you. So as always, thank you so much for joining me for this weekly podcast episode. I am grateful for your time, energy, and presence, that you make time in your life to listen to this on a regular basis. And I'm wishing you a beautiful holiday season as well. I will be back here soon with another episode, and I'll see you again before we close out 2023. Thank you and take good care.